Good morning. Hiya, my name is Nix, and I am an amateur slash hobbyist indie game developer. I've been really into game dev for the past 9 years or so, and I've been quite literally obsessed with zombies since I was capable of consuming media and understanding what a zombie was. And of course, with that combination, I'm gonna want to make a zombie related game at some point, and I did. I am making a zombie related game. She doesn't have a name as of yet, so I've just been calling her ZSG, which stands for Zombie Survival Game. So ZSG was born on September 27th, 2022, when I was 16. It originally was supposed to be a 2D zombie survival game with a kind of cutesy, chibi art style, because I don't know. That's not my usual style, whatsoever, but 16-year-old me was just super inspired to try new things, I guess. Anyway, a 2D, oddly cute zombie survival game with a focus on survival, obviously, but also a focus on the social aspect of it, the way that humans interact and connect with each other, especially in that setting, under that context. It's always been something I found interesting. I've been extremely inspired by the Walking Dead Telltale series, which I've played since I was about 6 years old. It's always been interesting to me, so of course I want to explore and play with that. The issue though was that 16-year-old me had a habit of trying to build games from the top down, which isn't very good. My old outlines for this game are so detailed, there's so much happening, too much in fact. I had the entire game planned out from the jump and was somehow planning on implementing all of it in one go because I hate myself, apparently. I can't explain to you what my thought process was there. That's a habit of mine that I've been desperately trying to break as of late, and this video kind of documents a part of my efforts to do that. As you'll see later on, my efforts were not completely successful, but I made progress, and that's kind of the only thing you can consistently hope for. Baby steps, you know? So the purpose of this video is obviously to reimagine and redesign the game. That's literally the title. But it's also to reimagine my approach and my process. Going forward, ZSG is going to be 1, 3D, and 2, developed slowly and incrementally, which is very different from how I've gone at my previous projects, including this one. My intention is to move through everything slowly rather than to do what I used to, which resulted in having almost no meaningful progress in the past 3 years, which doesn't feel that great. My vision for ZSG is still largely the same. I still want it to be a survival game with a focus on interaction and connection and cooperation with other characters, but I want to be more realistic and intentional with the way that I try to achieve it now. Anyway, with that said, we can get on to the development. Pretty sure that's why you're here. I'm a yapper, by the way. If you don't like yapping, if you just want me to get down into it, that was my drawing tablet. We're gonna think nice thoughts. I hope that didn't break, because I have a commission I need to get out, and I don't have the money to buy a new drawing tablet. Anyway. I'm a yapper, just fair warning to begin with. I'm gonna talk and talk and talk and talk, you know? If that's not what you're looking for, if you want me to just say what's going on with the game, you're not gonna get that. I'm so sorry. But if you do really want that, you can go to a different game dev channel. There are a lot that document their development of whatever their game is with a lot less chatter than I do. But I'm never gonna be able to cut any of this talk out, so might as well just go. Save yourself the annoyance now. Okay, so the first build of ZSG is version 0.01, which I'm referring to as the base version. I might be referring to it as part 1 of the base version for reasons that we'll get to further into the video, but the purpose of this build is pretty simple. It's just meant to act as a base for the next several versions to build on top of. It's also kind of acting as a motivation booster in a way. You know how the advice that you're given is to, start with a very small project so you can get it done, and then it can make you go ooh, I can actually do this, and then you can start building up slowly to bigger projects. That's kind of a little bit what V0.01 is. It's very simple. It took me about a month and a half to complete, and that's including several weeks of me not doing anything. So from the jump, I knew it was going to be kind of ugly because the only focus of this build is to get the systems at the very core of the game, like the things that everything else relies on and that the game cannot function without, implemented in their simplest forms. And this was meant to be done without worry for graphics at all, which is kind of new for me. One of my special interests has always been game dev, and that's always been something I've wanted to do. But another one of my special interests, which is more geared towards how my brain works, is visual art. I'm a visual artist. I'm in art school currently, studying animation and game art. I really want to make my games pretty, and I usually start with that step, and that's bad. I shouldn't do that, and that's why in this build I am making sure not to do that. Anyway, when I first started working on version 0.01, I asked myself what the game at its simplest stage needed to function. So I decided that the game needed to have a character for the player to control, needs that the player needed to maintain to keep the character alive, and if those needs reach 0, dead. Game over screen. Zombies, even though I don't plan on having them function very well yet, at least not in this version, and a way for the player to replenish their needs and their health in the circumstance that they go down. Well, they're gonna go down, but so they don't get to a deadly place, I suppose, a deadly range. With this question settled, I started outlining the system as I do with every project of mine, and in about a week I was ready to start implementing, which is crazy because usually I spend months and months and months outlining because I outline the entire game, what I want a finished product to look like. And then I never implement it because it's insane. The scope is crazy. So contrary to what you might think, this stage actually went really well. It did take a few days to lay out the 2 scenes in the game in this version, which are a really simple main menu and the test scene, or actually I think Unity comes with a sample scene. I deleted that and I made test scene. I don't know. I just needed to have my name. I need to give it the name. It needs to be my scene. I had placeholders that the player could visit when they needed to restore a need and a spawner for zombies. The way that it would work is the player would approach the placeholder and they got within, I think it was 3 blocks, and they're prompted to press the E key. And if they press the E key, depending on which placeholder they're at, if they're at the hunger placeholder, not hunger, the food placeholder, it would increase their satiety need. If they are at the thirst, then it would increase their hydration. I think that's pretty straightforward. I think that's easy to understand. And then the way that the spawner worked, the player steps on the spawner and then it spawns 5 zombies. And the zombies wander around. I did struggle a bit when it came to the trigger system that I used to make the need restoration work and the code I needed to give the zombies somewhat autonomous movement. It's really simple. They just wander around a certain range. It's really stupid looking, but I love it. They don't chase yet. They don't attack yet. I am still learning that particular aspect of Unity, pathfinding and things like that. I haven't dabbled in that before, even though I definitely should have with my previous projects. I just didn't. So I'm still learning that. So I'm starting simple so I don't freak myself out, right? I was having a little bit of a hard time with that, but a little Google search and a visit to the Unity forums pretty much solved my problem. So after a few weeks I was done. I exported the build, played it a little bit, and on testing, everything ran exactly the way I wanted it to. It was a little tedious to test because I didn't think to add in any developer tools, and I made the need decrease rate really slow. So I had to sit there for several minutes and wait for the satiety need to go down or the hydration need to go down or whatever else. But it did eventually, and I put it right back up by using the things. Everything was cool. And when any of the players' needs other than health reach 0, then the health starts decreasing rapidly. And then when the health reaches 0, they die. You get the death screen. I even put in a pause menu just for funsies, and that worked very minimally. It didn't actually pause anything. Things still kept moving, time kept passing, but it was just so that I would have a button to press quit instead of doing Alt F4 when I was done testing, which is a very small thing, but it's whatever. It's nice, it works. It was another thing to add. Everything went in just fine, right? So you may be wondering, why the hell did I imply that things didn't go according to plan earlier? I did not tell a lie, but I did in fact get greedy. That's where things went wrong. So for context, when I was outlining version 0.01, I also made like a little roadmap that goes all the way up to version 0.13. Sure, not outlined, but listed each version all the way up to 0.13, plotting each version and like what they would bring to the game. So I knew by this point that version 0.02 would be the first of what I call the identity updates, which are all meant to deepen aspects of the game that have to do with character customization, like basically giving your character or other characters identities, which is all fine and good. But version 0.02 was meant to be the base identity update, which would precede version 0.03, which would be the official character customization update, which would introduce like the official character models. It'd be like really simple. It would just be adults and it would just be mask frames and femme frames. Yes, my game is gonna be queer inclusive. I'm queer and not cis. My game's gonna be queer inclusive. I'm not gonna intentionally make my game binary. It's gonna be queer inclusive, regardless of that. Before I decided to reevaluate my plan for ZSG, version 0.03 would have been version 0.01. I actually was already working on version 0.01 for like the initial ZSG iteration, I suppose, the one that was 2D. And I did come up with, I think like 30 skin tones. It was 2D, it was all 2D. But I think 30 different skin tone sprites. And I was coming up, I think I made 4 different eye shapes, and I was gonna move on to like eyebrows and noses and mouths, but I got overwhelmed because it was like so much all at once, and then the rest of the game didn't even function properly yet. So it was like, why am I making all of these sprites when like I don't even know where the game's going? Well, I do, because I like outlined everything, but point is, I was really looking forward to implementing it, and the only reason why it wasn't my first step was because I knew that was stupid. I was really looking forward to implementing version 0.03. I really wanted to get there, because, you know, it would be my chance to finally add some art to the game, to make it pretty, to make my eyes happy every single time I played it. So obviously I wanted to speed past the first 2 versions so I could get to that one, specifically because I wanted to make a devlog for that specific build as soon as possible. I decided, hey, why don't we just combine version 0.01 and version 0.02 into one video? That'd be cool. They're both really simple and almost like indistinguishable from each other, right? Wrong. So wrong. I outlined version 0.02, which was supposed to add the character information systems and teams, and more that I'll actually talk and go into more as we talk about the implementation, because it's specific to that. For our purposes today, the most important addition is the character movement. Now, I've been playing The Sims since I was about 3 years old, and suffice to say, in 16 years, it's colored a lot of my desires when it comes to video games. So something that I really wanted for CSG is, one, like a team management system, which is kind of similar to like how households work in The Sims, but it's essentially you have multiple characters that are within your team and you can switch between controlling them. It's not like there's one that's your main character that you can only control, and then the others are just like other people. I want you to be able to control all of them like they are you. Now, this is all fine and dandy, except when I was outlining this, I started getting a wee bit overwhelmed. I've dibbled and dabbled in programming behaviors in Unity before, but I have no idea what I'm doing on that front, really. Not in a way that matters. Without tutorials and helpful people on forums, I'd be completely lost. The catch here is that I don't actually start coding until the full version outline is complete. I usually just give an explanation written like an English sentence, you know? Like instead of writing down if open parentheses input dot get key down, open parentheses key code dot left shift close parentheses is when I'm describing an if statement. I'll instead just say, then the script will check if the player is pressing the left shift button. And I really wish that I could say that I did the same for the outline of the character movement system. I instead left the section blank and explained that due to complexity, I would not be outlining this system in the same way that I had done all the previous ones, which was all 3 strikes at once, honestly. I don't know what possessed me to make that decision. In hindsight, I don't know in what world complexity would be a reason for me not to outline something. Like that's like the whole reason that I outline and plan things so meticulously, because I know that I get extremely overwhelmed if things aren't already like planned out and if the structure isn't determined beforehand. When I finally got around to implementing everything that I planned, I started getting really stuck because everything or almost everything relied on something else that needed to be added. The systems were all interwoven in a way that made working efficiently pretty difficult, I'd say. Like, for example, to function, the combat system, which is another very bare bones addition of this version, needed the entire character movement and zombie behavior system to be complete. For those systems to be completed, they required the combat system to be completed, which is probably another strike, honestly. All in all, my rush to get this version out of the way made it really, really difficult to get anything done without wanting to jump off a bridge. And yeah, these are really simply fixed problems, but I could not handle them. I understood and still understand how to fix these issues and how to rework my approach for next time, but I raise you this: I have brain problems. Brain problems that are not always swayed by the knowledge of things. Like, yes, I know how to fix the situation and keep it moving, but right now there are a million things happening and they're all bad, and they make me want to throw my computer out of a window. So it also doesn't help that my new additions couldn't even be like tested out along the way, because no matter what I did, they ended up breaking something that was way more integral to the game every time. I did try to take a little break because sometimes I get a little lost in the sauce, so to speak, and realize that I've been unintentionally spending 10 hours a day on a game for 3 days straight, and wonder why I am so sad and tired and anxious all of a sudden. Usually it's just because I've been overworking myself and I'm about to burn out. So, I just chill for a little, live life, come back later. Usually it's just been because I've been overworking myself and I was about to burn out, but I just go chill, get some sleep, live life, and then come back later and I'm all good. This time I came back and I still wanted to burn everything, so yeah, great, amazing. So, to prevent my first crash out in years, I decided I am done. I'm good. I am not doing this anymore. I mean, I am doing it. Like, I'm gonna come back and I'm still gonna keep working on version 0.02 and I'm gonna finish it. But that's because I'm gonna do it better this time. I'm gonna be nicer to my future self when I'm outlining and hopefully actually remember what we learned here today. Who knows? I'm not a good first-time learner. I truthfully predict that Devlog 100 is gonna consist of me ranting about how I need to do better in the outline stage and stop being mean to my future self just because I want to be done with the version. But hopefully not. Like, fingers crossed. Please, no. I will happily say though, disregarding everything that I said in like the last section of the video, this was kind of a success, low-key. Like a little bit of a success. The goal from the start was to stay on the path and finish version 0.01, and I did that, babes. I really did. I didn't do much else, but who cares? I got something meaningful and intentional done for the first time in 3 years, so not for like the whole 3-year stretch. Like, I have done things in the past 3 years. I'm just talking about ZSG in specific. I am a little disappointed that version 0.02 is gonna get its own video now, but I see why it happened. I get it. It's fine. Just a lesson for next time, Anyway, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching it, especially if you got this far. I know my talking can be a little like, can she just get to the point already? But that's my charm, I think, personally. The girls that get it, and the girls who don't, and that's fine. Either way, I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, then I highly suggest that you subscribe so you can see more stuff like this. Also, if you're interested in visual art vlogs, or like media commentary, you should totally go find my art channel, Nixby Art, on YouTube. It's really fun, I think, personally. I might be biased, but it's a lot similar to this channel, except I do the stuff I mentioned instead of talking about game dev and design. I also sometimes post more art related, like behind the scenes content based on the stuff that I'm doing on this channel. My other socials are on my link tree, which is in the description down below. And with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you guys have a good day, night, or whatever time it is for you. Bye-bye.